Pangu here. It's a holiday Monday here, and I guess it's Canadian Thanksgiving. Maybe I should call my mom, but I thought I would do a bit of a different kind of video. Usually I show finished things and units that I've done for complete armies, but I thought maybe I'd do one of these videos where I kind of go through, stage by stage of how I get something done. So I'm doing these Napoleonics. I like Napoleonics. It's not my main thing, but I'm definitely getting there. Anyway, so these are some French Line Infantry from the Battle of Waterloo set by Warlord Games, which I've done an unboxing video on. So this is how I do it. I mount them up here on their own sort of cube. As you can see, let me pick one up here real quick. White glue them down, and then I'm going to prime them with an airbrush. I'm going to prime them Tamiya XF Black, and then I'm going to get started painting. So the next video you see, they'll be primed, and possibly they'll have the flesh done, and I'll go through on how I do flesh and eyeballs, and I might even do the hair on that one guy who's not wearing a shako. Alright, let's see. Okay, so the guys have been primed, and I'm going to take you sort of through the stages of doing the flesh. So this is sort of stage one for these guys. I got the flesh just base coated. The flesh base coat, I've made a memo here. This is the flesh. It's basically the flesh tone plus burnt sienna, and it makes it a base. Then I move along. After I've done that, that dries. I'm going to move this guy out of the way. We get on to part two, and part two is just basically a burnt sienna wash, and just to bring out a little bit of the shading and stuff like that. As you can see, I've got here the burnt sienna wash. Now then I go into highlight number one. And this is where it gets a bit more interesting, I suppose. So I go through, I pick out some details like the nose and the fingers and stuff like that. And I've blacked in the eyes here, because for the next step it doesn't really matter, and it's just I find it easier to do at this point than later, because the wash might still be wet in the recesses and stuff like that, and then you get like a runny mascara look or something like that. So let's move these guys out of the way, and then this is the sort of penultimate stage, where I've done a brick red wash, and it kind of looks like crap right now, and I know you're thinking, oh man, that looks terrible, but you'll see. I'm gonna bring all these other guys up to this guy, and then I'm gonna finish them all off, and then in the next little bit you'll see the flesh all done with the eyes and the lips and all that other stuff. Okay, here we are with all the figures, flesh completely done, the eyes done, and the lower lips done. They've all gone through pretty much the same process. I'll explain how I did the eyes and the lips on the one guy here with the most flesh. As you probably be the easiest to see. Whoopsie daisy, put this guy here. Okay, so what I've done is for the lips, here I'll show you, I've got on my memo, I do like a light purple. It gives enough contrast. Let's see if it gets into focus there. Focus, focus, focus. There we go. It gives just enough contrast to show the difference in the flesh tone. As for the eyes, I tend to do the eyes with the black dot, which you've seen, and then I put two white dots on either side. I have a very, very old brush that I've been using to do that for quite a while. You can really see it on the one left side. The right side here, it's kind of muddled, maybe because I did something there with the camera, I'm not entirely sure, but I might go back in there and just put a little bit of a black line between the eyelid and the eyeball itself. But yeah, now that the flesh is done, which is probably the most important part of a figure, I'm going to go through and do the coats, the pants, the weapons, the shakos, but maybe not so step by step as I have with the flesh. So yeah, let's get started on that. Okay, here are the figures. I've put a first level of highlights on them. In some cases, a second level of highlights on them. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give them a wash of a pretty thick wash. Not a 50-50 wash, but more maybe like a 33-67 wash or a 40-60 wash of paint. Burnt umber probably in most cases. However, I do have some blue on there. I'm going to use some Prussian blue on the blue. and it'll really bring the color down. It'll mute it a lot. I always say that I like Napoleonics because they're colorful, but here I am talking about muting the colors. But for the figures to work, in my opinion, the way that I've been doing them to make them work is to basically make the contrast with the white against the muted colors, and then with the smaller things like maybe, for example, the badges on the top of their shakos, or some of their extra equipment like the little cups and canteens and stuff like that, to make them really, really pop. I also did the packs, which was just a real quick dry brush with the honey brown color that I've been using. But yeah, I'm going to give these guys a wash, and then we'll come back and see how they look. Okay, I've moved along here with the paint jobs. I've done just a couple of things since the other day. Basically, I've done the black here, as you can see. There's a bit of a highlight on the shako, the shoes, and the ammo pouch here. Pardon me, that's just a bit of it's almost a 50-50 mix of black and a medium blue. I only just do the one highlight. This isn't. I mean, if these were fantasy figures, I'd probably bring it up another, highlight or maybe two. But if for a stand amongst many, I think I'm pretty happy with it. The other thing I've done is you can see on this guy here and on the pack there, I've done the base coat of where the white's going to go. So I've done the straps, the knapsack webbing, I guess you'd call it. I don't know, the rifle straps, things like that. And that's the thing that's the contrast that's really going to help these figures pop. After that, we'll get on to some of the metal and some of the finer details and the hair and stuff like that. All right, let's see how we go. Okay, these guys are ready to be based. They're all finished. I decided to make them, I guess it would be the 3rd Battalion. I give them orange. I don't know if that's come through or not. If it's orange, it might look a bit reddish to you guys, but it's definitely orange on their shakos. Just the smaller things like the little wine flasks and canteens and things like that. Some of the little smaller details I've just gone through and made sure that they're all on there. Yeah, these guys they didn't take me too long to do. Once you got the major colors finished, they were quite quick. So the next step is I'm going to mount them onto the base. I'll show you how I do that. It might be a photo. I haven't really decided yet. I've got to go find some epoxy putty. I don't know if I have any. And then, yeah, it'll be groundwork, and then they'll be finished. Okay, here it is. This is the completed stand. It's based. I've got it flocked. Got some hedges on there. I'm pretty pleased with how it went. I'm just going to turn this around a little bit here to give you an idea of what it looks like from the sides and stuff. Yeah, it didn't take me too long to do this. It took a couple of days because I had a lot of things I was doing. But all in all, I think the actual man hours that I put in were probably, I don't know, probably about 7 or 8 maybe. I mean, there was a lot of time waiting for like the white glue to dry and the sand to dry and everything on the base and stuff like that. But overall, it was pretty quick. I mean, for the table, I think they're great. So yeah, so that's how I hammer through Napoleonic Infantry, 4 figures at a time. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you liked it, and take care, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.